It's your Locked On Flyers podcast for Tuesday, February 7th, your daily dose of Flyers news, analysis, and high quality content that thinks the Flyers are a little rusty.
A little bit. It's a little more than that, though.
Yes, we will get into that. Plus, have our Phantoms Tuesday all on today's show.
Your Locked On Flyers, your daily podcast on the Philadelphia Flyers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello there. Once again, I am Rachel Donner. You can find me on Twitter at rmiriam. I'm here with Russ Cohen, coming to you from the Wells Fargo Center, who's on Twitter at Sportsology. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Flyers. That is where you'll keep up to date with our episodes and Flyers news. You can email the show at lockedonflyers@gmail. We do a mailbag almost every week, so get those questions in. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit fanduel.com/locked on today to get started. Locked On Flyers is free and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. So subscribe. You'll get all of our episodes here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Plus, we're over on YouTube, so subscribe there as well. Russ, we had been a little nervous yesterday about some line switcheroos that Torts put together in practice. Looks like things settled out okay in the end, though. I mean, they lost the game, but in terms of our expectations of who would play together.
I mean, I guess, that first 10 minutes was brutal, though. And if you have the coach send a letter to the fan base saying that, hey, things are they're going in the right direction, they're moving in the right direction. And he basically said pregame, we're going to come out, with, blasting here. They didn't. They came out completely flat. And, these are the things that drive a coach crazy because, they did have some chances, no question, but they were never a threat to win this game. And the Islanders, I mean, what'd they get? 2 or 3 posts? They had the one that was on the line that didn't go in.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been a lot worse. It wasn't, so that's fine. But in the end, you just kind of wonder, like, again, Kevin Hayes, like the worst possible effort tonight.
Yeah, you could say that maybe he was exhausted from the travel or whatnot, but it's no excuse. That's for sure, especially in towards the system. I do want to say that, the latter half of the second period and the third period felt like pretty much mostly Flyers. And it was good that they got back into it. But I will say that while the effort was there and they were playing well defensively, I thought the offense that they were getting wasn't quality. Their high danger
No.
chances were way low. And,
Yeah.
when you have a power play in the third period and you have a real solid possession control, you have to be smarter about what you're doing. And that was the missing link here for me.
Yeah, that was definitely a missing link. I mean, there was a lot of disruption, but then if you watched it, some of it was mindless. And some of those pucks went right back to the Islanders and gave them
Yeah.
chances. So that's something where it's like, okay, listen, I get you're completing part of your mission, but that's not all of it. They definitely had trouble with Barzal. Like, they couldn't cover Barzal. Like, they were, again, I think they were fortunate that it was just 2-1. But even Carter Hart at times, there, Bo Horvat hit his shoulder. He never saw the puck. He never saw the puck on at least one of those posts. That first goal could have gone in. Like, it was just lucky it didn't. It was a great play. I forget who knocked it off the line. Like, even though it was a 2-1 game, Carter Hart wasn't even really locked in. He had a couple great saves, but that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a tough one to watch because that the Flyers are capable of better than what they
Mm-hmm.
put out there in this game. And I thought, guys like Konechny and Scott Lawton in particular usually has a little bit more in him
Yeah.
than what he showed in this game. One thing I did like, however, was looking at the D pairs. They
Mm-hmm.
did do what we had suggested
Yes.
and move Risto up to that second pairing, with Sanheim again. And that was deservedly so. And D'Angelo absolutely should have been on that third pair, especially with Sealer back in the game. I think that is actually a decent third pairing combo there for what, they complement each other well, and I think are a
Yeah.
good pairing for those kind of minutes. I was a little nervous when D'Angelo was out there with the extra attacker near
You had
the
a right
end.
to be. He was very loose with the puck. It wasn't great.
No, and again, on that opportunity, they just really didn't get any quality chances that whole time, and
Yeah.
even when they did get the puck back, to your point, the Islanders led in takeaways in this game, and it was very apparent that that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, they just have more discipline, and I know the coach is trying to teach that discipline, but the Islanders may not even make the playoffs, but they give you a playoff discipline, and you could see that that's something where the Flyers haven't reached that yet. We're 3/4 done with the season, and they haven't reached it. So, okay, we could say it's personnel this year, but next year that's going to be an issue because there's going to have to be more guys carrying out what the coach wants to do. Has to be.
Yeah, I think so too. Having watched the Islanders broadcast for this game, because that is what I have to do living in the New York area, it was interesting because there was a couple things that they pointed out that I thought were spot on. Number one, they said that Owen Tippett was the standout player for the Flyers in this game. And I have to agree with them because I felt like he was the one that I noticed following up on his play more often.
Hmm.
And when we did our profile on him, that's something specific that we talked
Yeah,
about that he does very well this season. And, when he got chances, he always followed up on the play. He always battled for the puck.
he did.
And,
That missed
he didn't.
net was a good opportunity that I really
Yep.
wanted to see him connect on, and he still has trouble with it.
Yeah. So, he wasn't perfect by any means, but
No,
I
but he had a
definitely
good
thought,
game. He did.
yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting was that, their broadcast team was very concerned about the Islanders in the second half of that game, just saying this is not good enough for the playoffs. They have to do
Well,
better.
I mean, they're
And,
right. The
they're
Islanders,
right.
for whatever reason, even with all their chances, with the posts and everything, at the end of the day, they still only put 2 goals up. They got Bo Horvat, and they still only got 2 goals on the board. That's been their problem all year. So,
Right, and to their point, which I agree with, they were playing too conservatively in that second half of the
yeah, I
game, and if
think
they were
so.
playing a better team overall than the Flyers, like, it would have been tied up easily,
Yes. Yes.
easily, the way that they were playing, and so it just makes me, like, doubly disappointed that the Flyers couldn't take advantage of that, again, having 2, extra attacker opportunities in the third.
Yeah, no question about it. I agree with the Islander broadcast on that. Uh, we'll see what's going to happen, with the Flyers now in this second half because there's a lot of scouts here, and there's going to be a lot of scouts here from here on in. So, like, if scouts were there to see Kevin Hayes, it wasn't a good scouting game for him. So, Risto did a little better. So, if there's anybody there for him, fine. If there's anybody there for Provorov, fine. But you want to see better. The fans were not having it. The fans were not happy this game at all. They booed a lot.
They did, and there were, many audible Eagles chants. I mean, to
Oh
be
yeah,
fair, it is Super Bowl week,
it
so,
is. I mean, I
you
can't
know
kill them on it right this minute.
no,
No,
you
I
cannot.
didn't say one word about it. It's with the Super Bowl coming up. It's fine. I understand.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's a good time for that. But yeah, I definitely heard the boos on the broadcast as well. You could hear it from home, especially during that power play in the third period, which was
Oh yeah.
just brutal, just brutal.
I mean, I'll tell
Well,
you one more difference between the Islanders and Flyers. When the Islanders are on the power play, if they don't see the right setup for a zone entry, they go back and do it again until they get the right entry instead of just forcing it. The Flyers have not figured out how to do that yet.
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, it is time for Phantoms Tuesday. As we are recording post game, the AHL All Star Game is underway, and Tyson Foerster has himself a couple of goals. We're going to talk about
Nice.
him and some other guys in the Lehigh Valley system coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from money line to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. We're certainly hoping it's from the Philadelphia Eagles this year, as we know. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at fanduel.com/locked on to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's fanduel.com/locked on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Russ, heading into our weekly check-in with the Phantoms, I think for me, obviously the biggest news was Elliot Denoyer got banged up in the game on Wednesday against Hershey. He didn't play the rest of the weekend. I certainly hope he'll be ready to go after the AHL All Star Break happening right now, but it's a little concerning.
It's a little concerning, and their break's not as long as the NHL, so uh, we'll see. I mean, they've already played more games too, though, than the NHL, so it's a different kind of season. Uh, he's got a little more time to get ready, but then if you miss time, you miss more games because they play him in a row, right? Like on those
Yeah.
weekends. So if he's not back by the weekend, then it starts to hurt.
It really does. Speaking of the AHL All Star Break, of course, we had Tyson Foerster and Ronnie Attard attend. As of recording, we don't know about the game itself because it's being played simultaneous to the Flyers Islanders game. But we did see the skills competition on Sunday, and I think the guys did pretty well overall.
Yeah, I mean, Adder, that's about what I think his hardest shot would be at, like 97.2, respectable, nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Um,
It was
that's
tied for third in that
yeah,
competition.
yeah, I think that's good. I would like to have seen what Forster could do in that, but you can't put him in everything, so that's
Right.
fine. And Forster did good with the targets, very good. I saw that. I liked what I saw out of that. But again, we know he's got a terrific shot. So yeah, I mean, these are two really highly skilled guys, and they're not too far away, and it was impressive.
Yeah, especially for Tyson Foerster, I would say he was up against some tough goaltending
Yeah,
from out west. Jesper Wallstedt is, of course, one of the top prospect goaltenders in the AHL right now, and he
yeah.
scored against him in the breakaway relay, which I really love to see that after he got shut out in an earlier competition in the pass and score event. So, yeah, I think both of the guys did pretty well for themselves.
Yep, they did, and certainly going to make Phantoms fans happy.
Absolutely. What else made Phantoms fans happy is finally the curse appears to be broken, and the Phantoms won not one, but two games against Hershey this past week. On Wednesday, winning 5-2, and Saturday, winning 5-1. Unfortunately, there was a loss against Providence in the middle,
Sandwiched.
but, I would say it's an overall win given the fact that Hershey had been such a problem this season so far.
I mean, sweet wins against Hershey, get it. But yeah, this is something that at least gives you a little hope. I still would like to see them sweep more weekends and feel like they have to. But, you know, this is okay. And Providence is certainly a good team. So, yeah, I mean, you played three good teams, fine. I mean, the results were mostly good. And, again, they're just going to be playing catch up. That's all. I mean, it's just one of those things where they are still going to have to really get hot.
Yeah, it's just strange right now because, all the teams around them seem to be on a tear, right now,
Yeah.
including Springfield. So, despite winning 2 of 3, they went down a spot in the standings to 4th place. But again, it's like really through no fault of their own. It's just everybody happens to be playing really well in that clump of teams in the division. I would say though that looking at the 2 wins against Hershey, the biggest like sign of hope is that these were really complete game efforts,
Hmm.
complete team efforts from everybody on the Phantoms. And the shot suppression was tremendous all weekend long. Defensively, they're really starting to play cohesively as a team a lot better. For the 3 games, they only allowed 22 and 23 shots on goal in each of those games, and that's pretty good.
It is. The only thing is I still want to see bigger roles for the younger players. They have better NHL, AHL veterans this year than they did last year, but those guys are taking some of the prime roles, and you really don't want them to take the prime roles away for an entire season from the guys you're trying to develop. That's the balancing act. That's where you have to really do better coaching, to be honest. That's where you're coaching. You can't just keep playing guys who are former NHLers like Louis Belpedio in the top pairing. I get it. He looks good there. He's helping you get points, but you got Ronnie Attard, who you're trying to develop for the Flyers, who really needs this next like 29 games to be at a higher level. And I think he needs to play against the best competition. And I would put him up there, even if it hurt my season. I have to do it because I have to make the Flyers better while I'm still trying to get better too as the Phantoms franchise.
Yeah, it's interesting what they're doing there on the defensive pairings, just because I see what they're trying to do with Zamula because he's the one who's been struggling a little bit recently. He really needs to get more active offensively at 5-on-5. I think
Hmm.
he's playing well on the power play, but
Hmm.
his 5-on-5 game is a little bit lacking right now. And so pairing him with Belpedio, who has been arguably their best defenseman over the last stretch of games. I think that's really what the goal is here, is to get Zamula going again, and because Attard is doing just fine, and they're pairing him with Ginning, who's another prospect. Usually you would see more of an AHL prospect pairing going on, but I think they feel confident in Ginning's defensive play and Attard, his full 60 of his game,
Yeah,
and
I mean, you're
so
giving
that's what's
Attard.
happening.
Yeah, no, that is what's happening. You're giving Attard the minutes, which is fine, but he needs better competition because again, he's going no higher than playing a third pairing in the NHL. But still, third pairing in the NHL is pretty much first pairing, first lines against an AHL team, and that's what you really need to see. So you can't keep doing this. Zamula, hey, you know what? Put him on the second pairing. If Attard's ahead of him, Attard's ahead of him. That's just the way it is. You're not going to ever be able to get everybody to, fire the same way at the same time. But Attard being a little bit older does have a chance at, playing the NHL even on a regular basis before Zamula if, he could raise to the competition. If he's going to continue to play on the same pairing he is, he's going to end up with like, I don't know, 25 points. And, that's a decent season, but it's certainly based on that and the competition doesn't give him a huge leg up on making a pro, the Flyers team. So that's where I'm looking at it like that.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting discussion to have and to see at what point do they stop giving Zamula these extra minutes and chances to try and get him going versus rewarding Attard with that
Right.
time.
Right.
And that's a decision for coaching to make, and
Hmm.
we'll see if and when that might happen. I think another thing worth talking about with the Phantoms this week is the special teams. The power play continues to be pretty good. It's second in the AHL overall. They were 4 for 8 for the
Hmm.
weekend, which is
That's
pretty
good.
solid,
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
say. And they did score a 5-on-3 goal versus Hershey on Saturday, but it was really pretty. It was a nice Tyson Foerster blast. So you love to see that. But
Yes.
Still, you got to take advantage of opportunities when you get them, and they seem to be doing that. On the flip side is the PK, which is the second worst overall. It's incredible
31st. It's just
that
pitiful.
the difference between the power play and the penalty kill on the same team. It's
Yeah,
extraordinary.
it is extraordinary. And again, the problem is you need guys to be doing better penalty kill wise because not everybody's going to play the penalty kill when they get up and play for the Flyers. Probably none of them will to start. But it'd be nice if a few of them had a good background in it and were doing well in case there were injuries up there so that they could get the penalty kill time. Right now, Tortorella's going to look at the sheet and be like, "There's nobody here that can help us on the penalty kill," and I don't blame him.
Yeah, and especially when you're trying to solve niche problems like that at the
Yes.
Flyers level, that kind of prevents potential call-ups because
Yeah.
they're going to want to see guys that can play in all these situations. But we've got a lot more to talk about with the Phantoms, looking at some individual performances for the week, and we will do that coming up next.
Today's episode is sponsored by Athletic Greens. I started using Athletic Greens because I wanted better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, and hated taking pills and vitamins. And I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great. With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, focus, and recovery. It costs you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. It's lifestyle friendly whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy free, or gluten free. Athletic Greens contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs, no nasty chemicals, or artificial anything while still tasting good. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Continuing our check-in with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, looking at some key guys on the team right now. We have been trumpeting for Olle Lycksell all
Have
season
we?
long.
I hadn't noticed.
Yes, we have. He's still the team points leader with 33 right now, had a goal and 2 assists in the last week. And I would say that maybe the thing that's holding him back a little bit is he needs to get a little better on his two-way play. That
Okay.
he just needs to get back a little defensively, more efficiently, and I think, you see a lot more of his offensive chances on the power play. I mean,
Mhm.
I know that's natural, but I feel like if he just stood out a little bit more 5 on 5, that would be the thing to get him over this hump right
Well,
now.
I mean, I still notice he's quick to the puck and he does make good plays, smart plays in the offensive zone. I mean, not everybody's going to be a defensive specialist, but again, when you call somebody up to the Flyers and they need help and they need power play help, like, you should let a guy like this get a shot at it, even if it's not on the first one. I mean, and he might have gotten very marginal power play too in the couple of games that I don't even know what's he been up there, like 2 games. It's not been much. And so I'd like to really see him get a slot there at the end of the season before the potential playoffs if Lehigh Valley was going to make it. So that can give him a little bit of a boost. But I really don't feel like that's in the cards for him. And I just feel bad because he's a good player.
Yeah, and I think that that's, what I'm talking about in terms of what he is potentially missing. That's things that Torts loves the most, right? And so I think that unfortunately, he needs to adjust his game a little bit to match up with what's expected of him at the NHL level on this particular team. I think he's fine, and I agree that he should get a shot, like you're saying, toward the end of the season and then go back to the Phantoms for the playoffs, but I could see, like, what maybe is holding him back right now, and if he just stood out a little bit better, like I said, on the two-way play, I think that would help him get that extra boost to get to the Flyers.
I mean, look, sometimes there are guys that are quadruple A players, and it's too early to tell if that's the case for Lycksell. But when you're a point a game in the American Hockey League, you should get more than 3 games in the NHL with more ice time than what he
Absolutely.
was getting.
Absolutely. Moving over to Tyson Foerster, man, he's just still playing super solidly. 2 goals for the weekend. He had a goal in each game versus Hershey. Like I said, he had that really fantastic shot, 5-on-3 power play on Saturday. And just his instincts, I think, are getting better and better as the season progresses. And I think it's just gonna put him in a really good position this offseason to train and get stronger and do the little things he needs to do to have a solid camp and maybe get a shot at the Flyers next year.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely needs to get stronger. I still see him getting pushed off the
Yeah,
puck, and that's going to be his biggest thing. He's not going to score uh, 20 goals at the NHL level in his first season. It's not going to happen. But you'd like him to show more than what a fourth liner would show too, because if he only shows like fourth line ability, they're going to send him back down, rightly so. I mean, it's just they have too many fourth liners on this team. So it's up to him. Like this summer is really up to him and his development. I think they've taken him to a good point right now this year. He still could be a little more dominant in the AHL, but all right, he's not. That's fine. Everybody has their own pace. But at the end of the day, this summer is going to be big time for him.
yeah, I think so too. We talked a little bit about Egor Zamula already. Like I said, I just think he needs to be a little bit more active offensively at 5-on-5. He's quarterbacking the power play nicely, but it's just the 5-on-5 play. He's lost a little bit of that jump that he had earlier in the season, and I think that would go a long way if he just was, more of an active part of the offense.
Yeah, I mean, again, he hasn't played a tremendous amount of pro games. I mean, we're really just talking about 82 Lehigh Valley games and like 24, actually, like 100 Lehigh Valley games and like 24 Flyers games. So, you know what? If he has to start the year again in the AHL next year because he has to work on these things that you've just outlined, it's not the end of the world. You want him to be
Right.
right when he gets there. So I'm okay with that. And if Adder moves ahead of him, that's fine. I mean, I kind of, would expect those guys to be, even though they're different, and even though Adder's older, at a different level, because I just felt higher for Adder as far as what his ceiling might be. So both of those things are okay. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, and, Bobby Brink, I think, continues to play really solidly at the AHL level right now. I think this time with the Phantoms is perfect for him. He had 2 goals, 3 assists for the week last week, had a really amazing play on the power play that, led to a goal by Cooper Marity, and I just love what he's doing. I love the progress that he's making, 11 points in 13 games played so far coming back off the injury. He has been, I think taking it slow and steady and upping his game a little bit as it's progressed so far, and, I just would like to see it continue for the rest of the season for him.
Yeah, and that's what I want to see. I really don't want to see him get called up unless it's just for a game. But they already gave him his 10, so just leave him in Lehigh for the rest of the year. Uh, worry about where he is next year. I'm not sure he'll make the team out of camp. I'm not sure there should be an expectation for him to make it out of camp. But if he's that good in preseason, hey, maybe you make that decision at that time. But right now, he has to get this real good base under him, and he's doing well. And he has to work on the little things in his game too. And he also just has to work on not getting creamed, as far as, getting hit. That's his big thing, because sometimes he's fearless and he's not a big guy. But again, yeah, I think it's going good. And, he's got future skills similar and to a Cam Atkinson, and he could end up being that kind of Cam Atkinson replacement, especially if Cam
Exactly.
never gets back. But again, you can't rush him to do it, especially coming off the hip like that. You really want him to be right.
Yep. So, this week, the Phantoms have 2 games on the schedule, at Hartford on Friday and at home versus Bridgeport on Saturday. So, hopefully we get Denoye back and it's a slightly lighter week So hopefully they can continue their winning ways. Our
Sounds like 2
Flyers,
wins. I don't know.
it does. It does to me. Our Flyers fun thing is Tyson Foerster at the AHL All Star game. We got a nice angle on that rapid fire shooting again up to the targets
Yeah.
from the Phantoms. He did a great job. It took him 6 shots to get the 4 targets and showed up really well.
Yeah, he didn't struggle, like, he was calm and cool with it. He's got a long stick, which I think is always good for a scorer, and, yeah, he looked great.
Yep. And that'll do it for today's show. We'll be back again tomorrow. We will be answering your mailbag questions. So make sure you get them in to us. You can email us at lockedonflyers@gmail. You can send us a tweet at lockedonflyers, or you can comment over on YouTube. I'm Rachel. I'm on Twitter at rmiriam. That's RMIRIAM.
I'm Russ. I'm at Sportsology, SPORTSOLOGY.
Have a great day, everyone.